I'm going to be revealing my own SRS strategy for the year of 2026 because a few months ago, I did talk about having to deploy around $20,000 of my SRS funds. And I have already received these funds and have already fully deployed them. So I will share what have I done. And I want to be very transparent. When I deployed these funds in February, that was all before 28th of February. So that was before all the US, Iran and Israel tensions, geopolitical situation. So it was quite an unfortunate timing. So if you're new here, my name is Chris, an ex-chartered accountant, now a personal finance YouTuber, and I run a Telegram group of close to 23,000 members to discuss personal finance and credit card matters. So join us for free if you want. And I think the overall objective of today's video is to really share what was my existing portfolio and what is my future portfolio gonna look like. So let's talk about my current existing portfolio before the deployment. And for those of you who have followed this channel, you would be familiar that I am using Poems Cash Plus to invest my SRS funds. Now to be specific, it is one of the Amundi unit trusts, and that is the Amundi Prime USA, which tracks the US large and mid-cap companies, which is similar to S&P 500, but it is not a direct replica of the S&P 500. This fund is really cheap at 0.05 expense ratio, and if you buy this fund through Poems, there's no sales charge and no platform fees. Previously, I used another platform, but they do charge platform fees, so I switched over to Poems. So that was my current portfolio as of February 2026, fully deployed in Amundi Prime USA fund. Of course, if you believe in the more global diversification, you can look at the Amundi Index MSCI World Fund, which tracks the MSCI World Index and has a very low expense ratio of 0.1% per annum. But remember that even for Amundi funds, they do suffer a 30% dividend withholding tax because they are domiciled in Luxembourg as a unit trust. So that was my main reason for using Poems. No sales charge, no platform fees. I felt that this is one of the lowest maintenance and cheapest way to hold your SRS funds for the long term without incurring recurring costs other than the expense ratio of the fund itself. So if you want to sign up for Poems, I also have a referral link here if you want to get some welcome rewards. Link in the description below. But that was my existing plan. What was my new plan in February? I actually deployed under a new platform called StashAway, and StashAway has a new product called ETF Explorer since last year. The good thing about ETF Explorer is that it allows you to use your SRS funds to invest as well. So that means your SRS funds now have a new avenue to invest other than just unit trusts, Singapore stocks, or SSB. So under ETF Explorer, I look at the various portfolio and ultimately chose the global equities portfolio. And under the global equities portfolio, the current ETF of choice is ISAC, which is a UCITS ETF domiciled in Ireland that tracks the MSCI All Country World Index. So to explain a little bit about this index, since it is a little different from the S&P 500, it tracks companies from the developed and emerging markets with over 1,700 holdings. And it is broader diversification than MSCI World because of the emerging markets exposure. And if you compare that to the Amundi Index MSCI World Fund, it only has developed markets exposure. And if you want to do it via Amundi, you need to add the Amundi Emerging Markets Fund. So that is two funds that you need to manage compared to just one single fund in ISAC. So the expense ratio of ISAC is higher at 0.2%, but the withholding tax is lower at 15% because of the UCITS fund's nature. And if you buy this global equities portfolio on StashAway ETF Explorer, the trading fee is only $1 per trade. There is no other hidden fees like platform fees or any recurring management fees. It is just a trade fee. And the good news is StashAway has also launched a regular investing advantage, which is a feature that if you invested in this portfolio, on the next month onwards, you'll get unlimited buy orders. So it actually encourages you to do dollar cost average investing. Note that it applies to the same portfolio only. So this month, you do the global equities portfolio. Next month, the buy orders on your global equities portfolio will be free. So it sounds really cheap, right, for StashAway ETF Explorer. But what is the downside? StashAway has transparently posted their FX spread charges on the website and is currently at 0.32%, which is around the market rate for the FX conversion. Of course, there are other platforms that offer really cheap FX spread, but they may not offer SRS trading. So that is the fundamental difference and the unique selling point of StashAway ETF Explorer. And with that, let's go on to my live demo of how to use the StashAway app to place your ETF Explorer order. Okay, now logging into my StashAway ETF Explorer, and I'm going to show you the quick walkthrough of how you should navigate this platform. Okay, right now, if you are new here, you will need to link the SRS account. So we go to this hamburger icon and click on settings, which will bring you to the bank accounts section, right? So click on the bank accounts, then scroll down. You will see this SRS account where you need to link it. So I've already linked it beforehand. This is an important setting before you do SRS investing. Now after that, go back to the home page, then create portfolio. Okay, and you choose I want to pick the assets, which will bring you to ETF Explorer. So you can look at the popular funds that people look at. Okay, there are a few. And for my demonstration today, I'm going to choose global equities. Okay, make sure you read up what is this fully about. Like I said, it's on the ISAC ETF, ISAC. Read the fact sheet because that is very important. You have to go through and make sure it fits your risk appetite. After that, if you really confirm, then click on continue. That's where they will ask you how you want to fund it, and you will choose SRS because that's the purpose of this portfolio. Give it a name, maybe name the ETF itself ISAC, then create the portfolio. Okay. After that, you can either do a one-time deposit or a recurring deposit if you want to do DCA. So let's say if you want to do a one-time deposit, right? So it's already linked to your SRS account as you can save it, and you can choose the deposit date. Okay. And they say that it will be invested within 2 to 4 business days from your scheduled deposit date. So maybe you deposit $1,000, okay, click on continue. After that, check that everything is okay and click confirm. And your deposit is scheduled. That is all. Now let's say if you change your mind and you want to delete the order, here's how you can do it. Look at your scheduled SRS deposits, for example, my $1,000 ISAC, and you can either update it, update the amount, or you can remove it entirely, which is what I'm going to do now. Yeah, so the order will be cancelled and there's no more scheduled orders anymore. And since you stay on till the end of the video, let me show you my ISAC portfolio right now and look at the transactions that I did over the period of February. If you look at it, my first order and deposit was in the middle of February, 19 February. I deposited 5.3K. They did a currency conversion and finally did a buy order on the next day, which was $112.48. Okay, so continue the DCA all the way until the end of February and following to March. That was my final buy order, right? So yeah, very unfortunate timing. I deployed all the way until the start of the US-Iran war. That is just how bad timing I am. And very likely the same scenario may happen to you. Oh yeah, one more thing is that they may not buy at one full lump sum order. They may spread it out to different small amounts. I'm not sure why, but it's just a feature of it. So my final big buy order was in 4th of March. That's when the ISAC price was $110.41. After that, I have no more SRS funds already. So my SRS funds have been fully deployed. So that's for my live demonstration. Hope you like it. Go and comment a thank you if you appreciate it. So yes, coming back, if I do a cost average of my ISAC position, my current average cost is around $112.37 US. And I could tell you honestly that after I finished deploying that 20K, it was not fun because the markets just dropped over the entire period of March because of the US, Israel and Iran geopolitical tension. So it's not fun. But the good thing is I did nothing because I just held on to these investments. I know that they are for the long term and we should not speculate and go in and out of the position. Just hold it and let time pass, and such index funds should go up over the long term. So if you ask me how to choose the best platform for SRS investing, I felt that there's no one single best platform. The only guarantee is cost, right? Cost is guaranteed. Profit is not guaranteed. Profit depends on what kind of counters and what kind of company holdings or index funds that you choose. But if you can always choose the lowest cost, then I think it's always a good direction to look at. And the good thing about StashAway ETF Explorer is it's not just limited to global equities portfolio. For those people who have higher risk appetite, you can look at other portfolios like the Nasdaq 100, which invests in QQQ. You can look at gold, silver, or even S&P 500. Recently, they launched it with the CSPX, which is the UCITS ETF tracking S&P 500. So for those of you who are interested in ETF Explorer, but you all don't want to limit yourself to just Singapore local markets or bonds or T-bills, then you all can look at StashAway ETF Explorer because it exposes you to global markets and even thematic styles of investing if that really fits your risk appetite. And I need to post a disclaimer because past performance is not the guarantee of future results. And return is not guaranteed. Capital is not guaranteed, right? At one point, you may face a loss during your investment journey, and you likely will, just like myself during the March period. And if you ask me whether to lump sum or DCA, I would say it's just up to your preference. Like for my 20K, I deployed over 4 orders of 5.3K, even with the $1 trading fee. I felt that $1 trading fee over a 5.3K order is quite reasonable. And in fact, if you are doing a monthly ECA, that's where StashAway regular investing advantage really shines, right? Next month, there's unlimited buy orders. You can do as many DCA as you want. So maybe you just invest near the end of the month, then next month you can unlock the unlimited buy order for your subsequent trades and orders. So I hope that this video has gave you a good overview of how I look at SRS and investing it through a low-cost platform. And if you want to go deeper, like how do you compare Amundi Index MSCI World Fund versus the ISAC ETF? I do have a previous video which you can refer to right here for the deep analysis.